On this episode of Zadanza, Zod and Dan watch some Christian comedy, the best kind of comedy, as well as further our theme of Christian mockery. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it within the guidelines of the Bible? Who knows and who cares? The question is, do you care? Because you should, because the show is starting right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Zadanza. I am objectively Dan. That guy over there is Prophet Azad. He's the Zod in the Zadanza, and I'm the Dan in the Zadanza. We're live. It's Thursday, May 2nd. It's May already, Zod. Can you believe it? Time is flowing by at a rapid pace. Ever since I feel like COVID kind of just messed with everybody's sense of time, like proportionately, right? That just me? No.
Yeah. No, yeah, it did. And it messed with everybody's sense of like sanity and having normal opinions and things like that.
Yes, also that. But anyway, we're continuing our theme. We love doing these little themes for you guys. Last week we were talking about mockery, Christian mockery. Really, we kind of went on some tangents here and there. But that was what we were aiming for, was Christian mockery versus atheist mockery, I guess. We're going to talk a bit more about the mocking stuff today. We're going to show some direct examples, I think, more so today of what that looks like. Right, Zod?
Yeah, we decided, since sometimes people mock Christians and that just really hurts their feelings.
Yeah.
And they apparently set up entire sections of school codes to deal with it.
Right.
We were just a little curious. Do Christians ever mock other people?
Yeah.
And
does that ever
happen?
happen?
Just never occurred to me.
Yeah. Scholars are still, I think, out to bat on that question, whether that actually happens. So we put our thinking hats on and we tried to find some examples, but it's so scarce. Zod. I mean, it really is just a desert of examples, I think.
Yeah, and something we said last week talking about Christian mockery, whether it was that or, some of the disciplinary measures used by schools, it offended YouTube and they yellowed us for some reason for the first time.
They did.
And
it might have been because we were talking about harm towards small people. Is the best YouTube way to say that, I guess.
But on the plus side, that took off in terms of views.
It did.
We're at 799 right now. So while we're talking right now, we'll probably roll to 8,000, which will be
our most popular stream so far. And we were already planning on continuing with this theme anyway. So we got some ones that I think will be good for you today. A couple vids and a couple articles we're going to be looking at. You know the drill. You know what's going on. You know what's happening. So yeah, that's what's happening. What are some examples in your life that you've seen of mockery, Zod? I think you had a great little copy pasta maybe you wanted to share. I don't know if you want to start with that.
Yeah, so I feel like, just anecdotally, before we took a deep dive and really scoured the internet for signs of whether Christians actually turn the tables and mock anybody, I just had these anecdotal things where I just felt that on social media, it was generally kind of okay to say, kind of crummy things about non-believers. And so I took a trip down memory lane. There's the typical things. I think Christians, and I mentioned this in my How Dare You Mock My Faith video a long time ago on my main channel, but they just have this vocabulary that rolls off their tongue, and they can make fun of people without even giving it a second thought, or I think even realizing they do it. So there's the typical, it takes more faith to be an atheist. You guys think the universe came from nothing. You have no basis for morality, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think that just feels normal to them over the pulpit or over social media or whatever. And they don't think it's going to like bother people or that it's stupid or whatever. But one I remember, and this was shared by a family member of mine, which I thought was just really special. It's a joke about a bear, an atheist that encountered a bear in the woods. Would you like me to share it with you?
Yes, I would love for you to share this with me, Zod. And for the record, I have seen
Okay.
this before too, and probably a lot of you at home have. We'll see how many in just a second. But yes,
Yeah.
please share with me this tale.
And so as we do this, whether it's this, we're going to watch a couple Christian comedians who I just find really insufferable. But, you know, some atheists do think that some of this stuff's just funny and that maybe I need to have more of a sense of humor. So, you know, Dan, you could tell me if I'm just being an old sourpuss about this.
Yes.
Chat, leave a comment in our web zone if you think that I'm being too much of a wet blanket about Christians just telling funny jokes.
I will. I'll
yes,
let you know.
The bear who say grace one. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler, says Zod, putting it on the screen and reading.
Yes. On that note, you might as well get to it. Let's get it started.
All right. An atheist was walking through the woods. What majestic trees! What powerful rivers! What beautiful animals, he said to himself. You know, if there's one thing Christians can do, it's just write dialogue.
Yeah, it's true. If I was walking through the woods and somebody said that out loud, I would think they're a psychopath. I would not think they're a real human being. Real people don't talk like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As he was walking alongside the river, he heard a rustling in the bushes behind him. He turned to look. He saw a 7-foot grizzly bear charge toward him. He ran as fast as he could up the path, which is just absolutely the wrong thing to do if a bear starts coming at you, in case you didn't know.
Never go uphill. Everybody knows this. You got to go downhill if the bear's chasing you.
Well, you don't run.
Well, it depends on the bear.
You don't.
Depends on the bear. It does. It does. Excuse me, Zod, you're talking to an Eagle Scout, okay? Let me tell you something.
All right.
Brown bears are
Tell me
not the
something,
same
please.
thing as black bears, okay? Brown bears, you can scare the fuck out of them. Just be like, get out of here, and then they can run away. Black bears, that's the ones that you want to stay still and, not do anything with. Same thing with the grizzlies. So, you can run. You can run from a bear. But you have to run downhill. They can't go downhill as well as they can go uphill.
Which one do you run from?
You can run. You can run from a brown bear. First, brown bears are pansies. Brown bears are pansies. You shouldn't even have to run from them. You should just make big noises and act big towards them. This is true knowledge. I'm sharing facts right now. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, just forget about it. Don't worry.
Okay, so I do know that if you're going to run, you run downhill. I know that.
You live in Alaska. Aren't you afraid of the bears that live there? Aren't there notorious amounts of bears in the place where you live?
Yeah.
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 You never had to, take out a shotgun.
A bear pushed open the door to my house once.
Yeah.
You know that,
See?
don't you? I've said that.
You told me that. But you do with grizzlies, so that's different.
Here's the process.
Yeah.
Here's the process. You start to talk. You raise your voice gradually so you don't startle it, but you make your presence known. You wave your hands or any objects you can get as big as possible. And then if it starts to come at you, you should try to play dead, put your hands behind your neck and everything so they can't. Yeah. But if you are going to run, run down a hill.
That's not the same thing. Brown bears, you can fuck with them.
Okay, we're getting off track, though. If there's one thing we can agree on, it's that you don't run up the path. Don't run up the path.
Don't run up the path.
He looked over his shoulder and saw that the bear was closing in on him because, bears can run 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's true.
He looked over his shoulder again, and the bear was even closer. He tripped and fell on the ground. He rolled over to pick himself up, but saw that the bear was right on top of him, reaching for him with his left paw and raising his right paw to strike him. At that instant, the atheist cried out, "Oh my God!" Time stopped. The bear froze. The forest was silent.
Wow.
A bright light shone upon the man. A voice came out of the sky. "You deny my existence for all these years, teach others I don't exist, and even credit creation to cosmic accident. So I guess God talks in the language of everybody who leaves a comment on my YouTube videos.
Yeah, I was like, I think this voice sounds familiar. I was like, I think he's used this before. But anyway, that's pretty funny.
Do you expect me to help you out of this predicament? Am I to count you as a believer?
Wow.
The atheist looked directly into the light. It would be hypocritical of me to suddenly ask you to treat me as a Christian now, but perhaps you could make the bear a Christian? This is weird. We'll get back to this, I guess.
This
Very
is
well,
the
said the
lamest
voice.
fucking joke I've ever heard in my goddamn life. First of all, what? Why is there a dialogue that's happening with the bear right there? I'm pretty sure you can't have this long of a dialogue. This is starting to not make a lot of sense.
This is a dialogue with God.
Yeah, with a bear in front of you.
Yeah. You think bears don't pause for God?
Yeah, I guess they do. Other thing is too, isn't the whole okay? You remember the Good Samaritan, right?
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
you know, the guy did something for somebody else, even though he wasn't part of the same Jewish ethno tribe as them. You think God would do the same thing with non-believers and try to help them out from a bear attack, even though they weren't from the same, belief system? But he kind of doesn't in this scenario. He's kind of debating whether he should or not. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's not very good. Anyway.
You just find all the most important parts of the story and zero right in on them. I like that.
Yeah. Some would call it a positive. Depends who, though.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Anyway.
If I'm going to do a stream talking about Christian mockery, I want to make sure that we stop and spend 5 minutes talking about how you react when the bear's coming
absolutely.
at you.
No. We are pedantic atheists, Zod. We have to do this. It's in our blood. Okay? You couldn't stop me even if you wanted. Even if I wanted to stop, you couldn't stop me. It's just a part of who I am.
We don't even have a basis for why stopping is better than not stopping.
No.
But what I like here is, of course, in this story, before we even get to the morbid punchline, which I think a lot of you know it's coming because someone spoiled it and someone else amplified the spoilage. We have, of course, the trope of the atheist who cries out to God as soon as he's in trouble, because of course, this atheist is like, and this is a Christian representing what they think atheists are to other Christians, it sounds like. And this atheist feels ashamed for all his years of atheism and says, I don't expect you to treat me as a Christian, but instead, can you make the bear a Christian?
Yeah, instead of saying holy shit, I'm talking to God. Like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's having a debate about mercy instead of acknowledging the fact that he's talking to the supreme deity of the universe. I don't know. It's not very good writing.
And the thing about this stuff is it's really depressing. It sounds trivial and it sounds nitpicky to talk about this, but especially because this came from a family member posted this on Facebook and thought it was, funny. This is Christians thinking that even in some funny way, they're communicating to each other what atheists are like or what an atheist would do. We would call out to God. We would suddenly feel ashamed and, guilty about how we'd acted all these years, denying God's existence and teaching other people he doesn't exist and blah, blah, blah. When really we'd be like, well, what the hell is this? Okay. You do exist. This is weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel it all bad. I have a pretty clear conscience about the fact that I didn't believe in God, and suddenly seeing a light from the sky wouldn't make me ashamed of that.
Yeah. There's a TV show that got canceled after one season. That was on HBO Sundays a few years ago. Do you remember this? I can't remember what it was called. But it was God friended me. I think is what it was.
Oh, that's right.
The whole premise was
yeah.
he's an atheist podcaster, which, to be fair, that's really funny that guy's the atheist podcaster because he nails it. He's being angry on a microphone and stuff. It's really funny. But anyway, he gets friend requested by God on Facebook, and that's the whole premise of the show. And it's like, yeah, if I got friend requested by fucking God, yeah, I wouldn't be a fucking atheist, but that's why this is a fictional story and isn't real. Like, I don't know. It's very, very weird. We'll have to talk about that show sometime. That'd be a good topic. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, same thing here.
Never mind
if I
the
was
fact
talking to God before a bear attack, then yeah, that might change my mind. But anyway, we're beating a dead horse. I am, at least.
Wouldn't you also, even most Christians, wouldn't they just think, what dumbass is sitting here texting me pretending they're God? Like,
yeah, no, there is that too. Yeah, they have that debate in the first episode, and his profile picture, God's profile picture, is like a cloud, and then he looks up in the sky and it's like the same cloud. And that's how he knows it's God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really stupid. But anyway,
that
yeah,
stuff annoys me. It's basically the Doctor Strange thing. Like, you know, you take a character who's very reasonable for saying that bullshit is bullshit, but then you write in the story that the bullshit is true, and all of a sudden, haha, wasn't this guy silly?
Exactly.
It's like, no, you're just making a dumb story.
Yeah. You're making a story about things that don't happen. Like, that's why this works. But anyway, all right, let's get into this conclusion, this exciting conclusion, please.
So he says, "Can you make the bear Christian?" Very well, said the voice. The light went out. The sounds of the forest resumed. And the bear dropped his right paw, brought both paws together, bowed his head, and spoke. "Lord, bless this food which I am about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen." And apparently, the atheist got eaten. And that is what a member of my family thinks makes a funny punchline. I think that's cool.
Okay, I understand, I guess, when you, when you're of a certain age group and you share these memes, right? Like, maybe it's funnier for a certain generation or whatever. Who the fuck finds any of that entertaining? Like, I just genuinely, what kind of person? And Zod, I'm riffing on your family member right now, but they must have terrible taste in comedy. I'll just say that right now. I bet they watch the worst comedy imaginable. I'm just gonna put it out there, throw some shade on your family members, because that is absolutely one of the worst, dumbest jokes you could possibly put in a public forum and still be considered, a valued member of society. I don't know.
No, you're all good about that. It's not like I love this person. I remember my family, but I haven't talked to them a lot in a long time. They live in a different place than me. And this person will routinely post things about how, I'm going to hell and I deserve, not directed at me, but that's, so I'm pretty blunt about saying I don't care about that. So this was, so this was the joke. Now I get this thing resides on a couple levels. One, this is just the play on words, or I don't know if a play on words is the right thing, but like there's the little subverted expectation that you think the bear's going to do one thing and then he acts like a Christian another way. A little bait and switch. So I get that there's that, and I know that maybe we should all have a sense of humor about this on some level, but I don't know. I could never see telling a joke, no matter what punchline it was in service of, or what little turnabout or whatever should get a chuckle, where, say, a Christian is in a Roman Colosseum and ends up getting eaten. I couldn't imagine posting that publicly, knowing Christians were watching it and thinking that they should just have a sense of humor and laugh about it.
Yeah.
And I would go so far as to venture a guess that they would not have a sense of humor about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's trivializing an act of violence towards another human being because they have a different belief system than you, right? Which is just like, I don't know, it lacks empathy, I guess. It lacks class. It lacks a lot of things. It's just not good. Also, it's not funny. That's the most important part. I'm willing to make a crass joke if it's funny, at least. Gosh, but no, it doesn't even get to that level. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I still, and this is where some people I think have differences of opinions, but it bothers me when they pass things around that have, this thing is just full of misconceptions about it. Basically, as there are no atheists and foxhole things. The it kind of implies that we deep down feel guilty because we're just rejecting God and being disobedient.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't know. It's kind of like I did a video about this a while ago too, but the whole ex-evangelical thing by the Babylon Bee, where they just have
Mhm.
this person being like, oh, I never thought about anything. And then suddenly a professor said this. And so I instantly quit being a Christian because blah, 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 blah.
Right,
And now
right,
I'm a
right.
self-righteous, whatever. Like, some people say you should have a sense of humor about it. I don't necessarily think you should, even if it is funny, because I think it is harmful or at least annoying to spread these misconceptions about us. And I don't know, because that
Yeah.
is the way Christians look at us.
There's something to dissect about it, at least. Like when somebody makes like if I see like racists posting on Twitter or something, or incel posts or red pill posts, there's at least something funny about the absurdity of their worldview. You know what I mean? That the conclusions they come to that they think are legitimate. There's like an absurdist level to it, but this doesn't even match that. It just, again, it underlies, again, a lack of empathy, a lack of understanding, and just a level of crassness that would be considered funny in any realm. One, even if it was like true on some level, like let's say it's pointing out some sort of social norm that people ignore, right? And there's like some humor in that. Like it still isn't a good joke. It still isn't very funny, but it's not even true on that kind of level. You know what I mean? Like it's just bad. It fails
Yeah.
all around. That's what I'm trying to say.
So we have an interesting point from Purple Rhymes with Orange, and people are already starting to talk about this. But as a community, we make a lot of jokes about eating babies. And that, I don't know, is I'm not immediately putting this down, but what do you think of that? As an
I
equivalent to
mean,
like a joke about eating an atheist.
I mean, like it's an act of reclamation. That's something that's done in lots of minority groups, right? Like when people talk about the gay agenda, right? My gay friends love using the term the gay agenda because it's funny, it's absurdist, right? It's this idea that, oh, all of these
Yeah.
gay people have some sort of worldwide global institutionalized power and can push things, right? And so they may joke about pushing the gay agenda. They do it ironically. It's not like, and that's an expression of just, again, absurdity, right? Because the eating babies thing is just also super absurd. So atheists joke about it. I don't think that's wrong. I think it's just underlying, I don't know, a greater power dynamic there, which is that, yeah, we're in the minority group there and people do legitimately think those kinds of things.
Yeah. Hollyhock has a comment. I think there's a difference in a group between turning accusations into jokes versus a group making jokes about another group with violent undertones.
Yeah.
And I guess that does kind of, and I'm not here to argue with people. If you made a comment and I'm bouncing ideas around about it, I hope you don't feel like I'm just putting you around down and saying it's stupid, because it does give me things to think about. But I
Yeah.
would say the
It,
essential differences are,
no, go ahead.
I
No, you
would say
know.
the essential differences are, one, the bear one is like targeting a population, and it seems to think there seems to be some implied sense of satisfaction at that turnabout or something, that
Yeah,
they get some kind of retribution happen that they get a little satisfaction about, and it's
there
targeting a
is.
specific group of people. The atheist eating babies thing isn't targeting a group of people. There's no satisfaction in that happening. It's making fun of, I guess, I don't know if anybody even says that about us, but there's like this perceived accusation that we don't care about, or that we would do that, and so we're just mocking the perception that we have no morality or don't care about children or whatever.
Yeah. The last thing I would say about it is just like we could say we're making a mountain out of a molehill, and yeah, we might be, but like Christians do implicitly, most of them understand that violence towards us is a legitimate act if it comes from God, right? That's underscored throughout the
Mm-hmm.
Bible. It's also underscored in like just general theology, right? Because we are allegedly going to be going to a place of eternal torment and suffering, and this is just. And it's okay to joke about that because it's what we deserve on some level. Like there are definitely Christians who
Yeah.
have that kind of mindset. And this can be sort of emblematic of that normalization of violence towards non-believers in some way. But try
And
saying
also,
that at church
I can
and you look
see
like
how,
a crazy person, right? So
yeah, I can see how this sounds nitpicky, like you said, making a mountain out of a molehill. But we're not talking about these things in isolation. There's this whole context where, again, these are not only passing around misconceptions, and I think things that people really believe that are derogatory, and the misrepresentations in a story like this are things that, like, they're the barriers I'm going to run into almost instantly if I talk to certain Christians. They're instantly going to think this is where I'm coming from, and that's going to affect how they talk to me.
it's true.
But also, it's not in isolation to the extent that I'm just not picking this story out of the ether and discussing it on its own merits. Part of this is a conversation of less about how much this story bothers me personally, or I see it as problematic, and whether there's maybe a little bit of a double standard, because you don't even have to approach this territory, and Christians are like just completely blown away by what a terrible mocker you are. And I don't know. That's partly what I'm exploring here. It's not even it's kind of the question of, can they take it if they dish it out?
It's true. I think that'll be further elucidated in some of these next videos that we can get to. But I do want to point out, not this one, but I like Goodman for saying "You eat babies" from John Marston, because as soon as Zod said that earlier too, I immediately thought of John Marston saying that. There's a in Red Dead Redemption, in the DLC, you get to meet Bigfoot, and he's like an incredibly intelligent, like, sapient being. But the guy you play as, John Marston, is just like, "You eat babies," and then he shoots him, and it's really funny. He doesn't. There's no evidence that he eats babies either. It's just him being stupid. It's really funny. But
so basically, what a Christian would do with an atheist if we didn't live in
basically, yeah. I love Red Dead Redemption.
Okay, before we get to the clips, I want to read this too. I like this comment. It's a way up. And then the bear started proselytizing and tell the atheist how wicked he was, and the atheist said, "I changed my mind, God. This is worse."
Yeah. Or why not let the atheist be saved at least? I don't know. Isn't the whole point that we're all equal sinners under the eyes of the Lord? Why not let him be saved at that point?
Yeah.
Why can't he ask for forgiveness? I don't know. It's a stupid joke. Anyway, let's move on.
So let's watch a comedian. This guy's called Tim Hawkins.
Yes.
Now, context here, that is quite a object you have in your hand.
It is a big old knife right here. I can show that on YouTube, right? I won't put it on screen anymore.
I don't know.
That's not true. I just like to mess with stuff with my hands, and I shouldn't mess with this knife. Anyway.
Oh, I do it too all the time. I have a pair of tweezers I mess with here, and sometimes I poke myself with it and so I drop it. I fidget.
I got a fidget cube that's supposed to be better for this kind of thing, but there's something about swinging around a knife, a good old pocket knife. You know what I mean? It feels good. But anyway.
All right. So this video, Tim Hawkins, he sings a song about atheists. No, he sings like parodies of what he thinks atheist songs should be, or it's a joke or something like that. The context here is immediately after I came out as an atheist on Facebook and basically told everybody I didn't believe. This one guy got super obnoxious and started posting all these things that he thought were just really funny ha-has about atheists, and he thought sharing this was going to be a good joke for me. And it turned into a whole thing about me talking about whether that was funny or whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You look like you have something to say.
Tim Hawkins, my exposure to Tim Hawkins, I watched Tim Hawkins' comedy special on the way to a Christian summer camp one time when I was like middle school or high school. And he does have one banger. It's a parody of Jesus Take the Wheel, and it's called Cletus Take the Reel. And it's about like two redneck guys fishing. All right. Like that's pretty funny. That's a funny idea. But like, this one, I remember seeing this particular thing too and thinking that it was kind of off, and we're going to watch it right now. But, maybe we need to look at Cletus Take the Reel next time and see if we still think it holds up.
Shivers pointed out something I'd noticed. Dan just said Tim Hawkins.
Did I? I meant to say Tim.
You
Tim
did.
Hawkins is his name. If I said Tim Hawkins, that's not me.
Yeah.
Andrew Sword.
Andrew Sword. Should
16.
missing Zadanza because you're rizzing up e-girls be on the syntax?
I don't even know how to respond to this comment. This is immaculate. This might be my favorite donation message I think we've ever gotten ever. It's too good. Thank you for the $16.66.
The phrase "rizzing up e-girls" obviously has no place as a sin in our hearts, but missing Zadanza, that's basically atheist blasphemy of the Holy Spirit in my mind.
Yeah, that's Omega sin. That's Omega sin right there. But no, rizzing up e-girls on the side, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly within the confines of the syntax. Man, that's really funny. Okay,
right.
Let's do it. Tim Hawkins.
Oh, to finish the thing, so I played a clip of this and talked about how annoyed I was in a YouTube in a video about how I came out a way long time ago. And a lot of atheists say this is I should just take the joke and that this is funny, and they might partly be right. I think there's a little bit of a reasonable. It's reasonable to see both sides of this. So feel free to leave a comment in our web zone if you think that this is funny and I should have a sense of humor. But here is Tim Hawkins.
That's why I take medication, because people like you. But I think, okay. Somebody flush a toilet back there or something? Hey, we got to conserve energy here. We are in a green state. I don't know if that was you guys.
So I guess before we get to all the atheist stuff, at least he's like, good at crowd work.
He's doing crowd work. It's just crowd work. It's typical crowd work. It's Christian crowd work, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But
Christian, I don't know, for some reason, watching a Christian comedian like this or any subpar comedian try to like do crowd work or react to their environment, I get so much like secondhand embarrassment on their behalf because it just looks so cringy.
But that's most stand-up though, to be fair. I think that's like the stand-up that you don't see on TV. If you've ever been to stand-up in real life, that's the experience. Is secondhand embarrassment for most of the time.
Okay. Maybe the crowd work I watch is like clips of people who are good at it, like Jimmy Carr.
Yeah.
If you ever watch Jimmy Carr do crowd work, that's a whole other thing. But anyway.
Yeah. God, I don't know. Oh, watch it, buddy. But some ideas have to come from a higher power. I don't know if you read about this in the news several months ago, talking about the existence of atheist megachurches. Did you hear what I just said? Hello. Atheist megachurches, they exist. And as a comedian, my brain exploded. It's like, where do you start with that? Did they have coffee?
So, Zod, did you look this up? Because I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. What the hell is an atheist megachurch? Right?
So I don't think it exists unless he's talking about those. What do they call those? What do they call those weekly meetings? That's a substitute for church.
Weekly meetings are a substitute for church? What do you mean? There's Oasis.
Like refresh
Oasis
or revive.
is a thing.
Oasis, that's what it is. Yeah. Oasis. Yeah, Drew, it might not be fair to compare this guy to Jimmy Carr. Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
It might not be fair to compare this guy to Gallagher. So I think, I don't think these things have to exist. It's just a what if scenario, but he's pretending he heard about it. Kind of like he also has an atheist kids camp or something like that. So he does different versions of these where he just comes up with a premise that lets him pretend he's singing atheist versions of Christian songs.
Yeah.
He shops at the atheist megachurch.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We must be talking about like Sunday Assembly or something, or Oasis. I just don't know what makes it a mega church. I have been to Sunday Assembly and I've been to Oasis. They are not large organizations. At least the chapters I've been to, very, very small. I don't know what makes it mega, but anyway, it's just very weird to do a bit about this, but I guess not really. I don't know. I was just the first time I heard this, I just was like, what even is that? I don't think that's the thing, but anyway.
What do you call it? The bitter cup?
It's just basically what if they had mega churches, except he says he's been to one. Like
no, he literally said he saw in the news that there's an atheist mega church.
I know. So it's like
But
a what if, but he's pretending it happened.
No,
Like,
but
not every
he's saying
comedian
it's
is telling you
real.
that-
He's lying. It's odd. He's lying. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
He's a liar.
Again, you're making sure we really zoom in on all the important things.
This is the best part about humor is breaking it apart until it's not funny anymore. That's what makes jokes really good. You know.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Yeah, he sits on a throne of lies. Exactly. All right. Anyway.
All right, let's go.
Cup of despair. What do you call it? What do you do there? Do you sing worship at an atheist church? What do you sing there? Like, shout to the void, all the earth, let us sing. Come on. Power and majesty, praise to nothing. I don't know what you think. I think about that stuff. Do you have children's church at an atheist megachurch? What songs do you sing to kids at an atheist church? Like, no one loves the little children, all the children of the world. No one hears you when you cry, no one hears your lullaby. No one loves the little children of the world. Reason why we exist, but there's no reason why. Reason why we exist, but there's no reason why. Row, row, row your boat gently down the reef. Wallowing, 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 wallowing in your unbelief. Let's do the rounds. You want to do the rounds? Remember those?
Yeah.
So I think we're starting to get the flavor of this thing, right?
Yeah. We're just all
How would
sad.
you characterize the point of this? Yeah.
We're just sad. We're
Chat,
sad.
what do you...
Yeah. We're all sad,
feel free
and
for
we all
feedback as
wallow
well.
in the children don't have anybody to cry to, I guess, in under atheism. You know, I don't know. It's a very bleak outlook. If this is your view of atheism, then yeah, why would you want to be an atheist, right? But you know, that's kind of the Christian understanding a lot of times.
There are a couple different ways to take this, and one could be it's just like the I'm spacing out on my words. It's just where you take two different things and put them together where they don't belong. I'm just
An oxymoron.
the contrast between it's like the contrast between two different ideas, or I'm forgetting the word, but it's like you're taking two contrasting things and stylistically putting them together, and you make humor out of that. I'm really embarrassed by the fact that I just
juxtaposition.
Huh?
Juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition. There we go.
Okay.
Yes. It was that or something similar to it. But basically it's the juxtaposition of two different ideas that, it makes it sound a little bit funny. So I can get there's that part of it. There's also the part where we can get all insulted and say, well, you're saying that we don't care for children, or we, live depressed lives because our lives don't have any meaning, or things like that. And so I can see there's different ways of looking at it, and maybe we should just have more of a sense of humor that he's just juxtaposing two different ideas. But on the other hand, I think it is legitimate to find it at least a little off-putting that he's taking these total misconceptions about atheism and using that to build his jokes. And again, when you spread these among Christians, you're encouraging what is a real, actually misunderstanding of us, and it's going to continue to spread. Mm-hmm. Also, just the fact that the juxtaposition is built on something that's complete horseshit, I think that is worth pointing out. Like, if the point is the juxtaposition, that doesn't really exist. And so, I don't know. There's something I find a little, a little annoying about being expected to accept a juxtaposition between a misrepresentation of our idea and the idea that Christianity is the one place where you actually have hope. You're supposed to roll with that. And again, it comes back to the question of, would Christians roll with something similar? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's propaganda, right? It's propaganda about what atheists are and how they think and what they do. Because the question of what do atheists sing at an atheist megachurch, that's a scientific question, if anything. That's a question you can answer through just research. Okay, what do they talk about? What do they do? Instead, it's a comedy bit, and it's used to emphasize, I don't know, the potential bleakness of an atheist worldview or a view without Christianity. It's it's one, ignorant, but it's also offensive because it doesn't reflect accurately the beliefs of atheists at all. It's just not real. It's just an imagination of Christians. That's it, because they've probably never talked to atheists for more than 5 minutes, or if they have, they still have stereotypes for some reason besides people like you and me existing. It's rough. It doesn't really help anybody except yourself in thinking, wow, isn't it great that I get to believe in the one true God that loves me and does love all the children of the world and stuff, and brings me everlasting joy. It's propaganda at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's number one, if we sang any equivalent of this back to Christians, I don't think they would think it's funny. But also, I don't know. To your point of like, they haven't talked to many atheists. One thing I find super annoying is I just had somebody make a comment on one of my videos like, well, why do you spend this much time talking about something you don't believe in? Like, there's that typical thing, obviously.
Yeah.
But over the course of the conversation, I said, well, maybe you could use a little exposure to atheists. You can actually maybe understand this question because it's kind of a dumb question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I put it exactly like that. But then they said, well, I've spent 8 years chatting with atheists on these formats and, I don't know, Reddit and chat rooms and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, first off, why are you wondering, why do you think it's weird that I have a YouTube channel about this when you spend 8 years of your life debating it online?
Yeah, it's true.
But then second, how can you talk to people that long and still misunderstand them on such a basic level?
Yeah. And the third thing is, why are you questioning somebody that seems to be spending about time in something they don't believe when you seem to be spending a lot of time with the folks that don't believe too? Like, what, 8 years? That's a long ass time, my man. What's up with that?
Yeah. And you can say, I do believe something, and you're just objecting what you don't believe. But like, they don't ask creationists why they spend so much time talking about evolution. Like, that stuff's all pretty obvious. But then the point that ties into what you were saying is, if this person can spend, it's kind of puzzling to me that a person can spend that much time still holding that idea in their head if they really did interact with atheists. But what I would guess happens is, number one, it's just toxic online behavior. And so, all of us, I think, can chat with people without really hearing what they're saying, if we're honest with ourselves. But then part of it is, I think Christians spend most of their time in churches hearing other Christians talk about atheists, and that's where they get their picture of us.
Yeah.
And then I wonder how much they just charge in with that mindset and never really hear us after that. And just anything we try to say about our actual perspective bounces off of them, and they don't move beyond whatever a pastor told them over the pulpit or what Tim Hawkins sang in a song or whatever.
Nope. Tim Hawkins.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Is his new name, I think.
That is his name from now on.
Yeah, it's very, very respectful. Very, very, very good that we call him Tim Hawkins instead of.
It's like Jack Lame.
Just these kindergarten level insults. That's what we've resorted to.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we're not insulting him. We're not insulting him. We're joking about the fact that you tripped over the word. Can't these Christians ever have a sense of humor? Anyway.
I see. Yeah. A lot of good points. But let's finish this.
Okay, I'm gonna try a new one, kids. Evolution, this I know, for Charles Darwin told me so. Accidentally alive, if you're weak, you won't survive. Tooth and claw, kids, tooth and claw. Come on.
So apparently the joke of that one is that you're a complete dumbass and you don't understand evolution.
That's what's really funny, because it's so revealing about what Christians think about evolution, one.
Yeah.
But also, like, okay, what does that song in its original context say about Christians? Like, you just trust the Bible because because it says so. That's the song. That is the lyric of the song. Like, I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, number one, that's not. Yes, technically, evolution, or at least natural selection, describes the fact how evolution it describes the selection pressures that cause us to evolve along certain lines, and it simply describes why some creatures survive in the wild and others don't. It's not our values for one thing, but then also they're just projecting, like you said, the fact that they take a book at face value. So apparently they can't comprehend how anybody gets their knowledge by any other means.
Yeah.
It's kind of just sad.
I am an atheist.
Well, I was just going to say, I remember seeing this again when I was younger, and I've told this before, but I've never been a Christian that didn't believe evolution was a thing. I always believed evolution was a thing. I grew up, and there's a lot of Christians that do. It's not like, I would say there's probably more Christians that do believe in evolution that don't, I think, at least in our country. So like hearing him say that is also kind of weird if you're a Christian and you're like, oh, well, wait, well, do we have to have a problem with evolution or whatever? Like, I don't know what that means for folks that aren't fundamentalist, but anyway.
Yeah, in a lot of evangelical circles, though, I think that joke is going to land, and you either believe in
sure.
evolution or you need to tiptoe around people if you admit you don't believe in it, or admit you believe in it.
Yeah.
Biddy, SNL laughs at their own jokes less than this guy.
Damn.
Maybe not Jimmy Fallon, but
I am an AT. I am an ATHEIST. And I have NOTHING to give me hope and certainty. And when I DIE, I will be ALONE. Hey, come on!
Yeah. That's the saddest part. When I die, I will be alone. Wow. How fucking sad. Of a worldview, I guess that to legitimately have that worldview is very sad. I just don't know any atheists that actually really think that way, I guess,
Yeah. Like it's basically the I don't have any hope thing. And then when you die, well, number one, when I die, I won't be alone. The people who knew me might be alone if they don't have any other friends, I guess, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't sing a song that would be like us saying that Christians sing song about, and when we die, half the people will be burning in torment. Like, there are certain things you just don't focus on. Like,
yeah, there's no me to be alone. There's no me to be sad after death. So like, I don't know. This is another thing that it always comes down to this. Like, when Christians make fun of atheists, death is usually involved in one of the things they make fun of, because Christians have a certainty of afterlife, whereas we don't, right? And so it just kind of shows you that, like, yeah, it is kind of about assuaging the ego for having assurance that you're going to have an afterlife and that your will survive after death is important to your Christian belief, because otherwise why would you bring that up so frequently, right? Or why would that be a point of contention? But the fact that he even brings it up kind of shows like the insecurity that comes with having a belief like in Christianity, right? Because like that, if that's going to be a reason why you believe is the security after death, then there's something wrong with your belief, because you're not believing for good reasons. You're believing because you want it to be true at that point, right? But I don't know. That's too much. It's too deep for a Tim Hawkins song.
Sorry. Yeah, you don't even reflect on what that means. Like, you just take vague solace in it. You can't really process the fact that you're going to die. So you just, like, without even thinking about what it would be like to be forced to live forever, which I don't think I would particularly care for, you just like kick the buck along and pretend that thought makes you happy. I mean, I guess it does make you happy, but only because you don't think enough about it.
Yeah. Exactly. I guess I'm a sad person for accepting reality as it is instead of believing in false fairy tales of magic and afterlife and God. And, it's like this song is making me into a bitter atheist. I'll tell you that. It really is just like, I don't know. It's an extension of the Christian worldview about atheists. It really is. It really does. I think this encapsulates a lot of people's mentalities about what it is being atheist and why. When we wonder, well, how come more people aren't like us? It's because of what's being said here, right? I don't know. And on top of the ostracizing that occurs too, but we haven't even talked about that.
Well, and stuff like this. First off, Hollyhock, the cheering is sad as well. I think when I really think about it, it's if this guy was just doing this in a room by himself, I don't think it would have as much of an impact on me. But when I hear Christians cheering, like basically, yeah, that's so true, ha ha ha. I don't know. It's kind of validating to hear you talk about it this way, because honestly, I'm a little self-conscious about the fact that I'm the only one not having a sense of humor, and that other people are like, oh, just grow up. It's just a joke. You don't need to take it so literally.
No, I'm seeing this as a sociological commentary right here. You know, as an entertainer, particularly in the Christian world, you have a lot of pressure actually, and that pressure is to toe the party line in some ways. Christian musicians talk about this a lot. Like I've talked about the musician Gungor before. I really like Gungor because, well, he's kind of an asshole, but in some ways he isn't. Like he got a lot of flack back like 10 years ago or so because he thought that the world wasn't 6,000 years old, and he said that publicly in like an interview, and Christians were like saying they should boycott his music and stuff because he was really speaking his mind to this. Whereas you have a guy like Tim Hawkins who is not only doing the best possible thing you can do in Christian comedy, which is as lame as it is, at least he's doing stuff like the crowd work, and at least he obviously has like musical talent and stuff, but he's doing it to accentuate the Christian thought in a very sort of literal way, I guess. Like he is boiling down sermons into brass tacks, into comedy bits to just kind of be consumed by Christian audiences, you know? And so like by doing that, you kind of get a very visceral understanding of what it is to be a Christian in some ways. It is to like pacify yourself and to make yourself feel better about the insecurities and the things you don't know about the world. And sometimes by doing that, you have to put down other people, I guess, in order to make yourself feel good. And that's the point of that whole bit, I think. Anyway, maybe I'm jumping in too deep, but that's where my brain goes.
You're good. I'm all for that. One question I have, like, if he thinks you're gonna feel alone after you die, did he feel really lonely for the billions upon billions of years before he was born? Like, I don't know.
That's true.
A little strange. I think one of the fundamental things here is if you really think about what atheists would sing if they got together and sang thongs. That's great. Sang songs.
We're having a lot of malpropisms tonight. We got Tim Hawkins and singing thongs. It's amazing.
I don't know if you could tell, but I'm just slightly congested and my nose is itching really bad. I had to mute a little bit and try not to sneeze, but I'm almost drowning in my throat right now. But I think the most fundamental thing about this is if you really think about what we would sing about as atheists, even if we did hold all those views, like even if we did think that life was just dreary or blah, 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 if you got us together in a room and had us sing about what we valued or thought was important, number one, it wouldn't even be our atheism. Like, atheism is only an identity we associate with because that's relevant in our society. That I'm just speaking for me, and I think that accounts for most of us. Most of us would probably, when it comes to actually what we want to celebrate or what we think is important in our lives, I would think probably like our relationships with other people in our lives that we find meaningful, things we find joy and fun in. Yeah. Just basically take secular music that's not Christian. A lot of those people are probably atheists, but they don't sit there and sing about how they're going to die and be alone or whatever. They just sing about fun, real life stuff that doesn't happen to be Christian.
Why would we want to make didactic, trash? I guess, as you know what I mean? Like that's what like half of Christian media is.
I just loved how you put that.
What are we gonna sing songs about? We love everybody and equal rights is really cool, and I don't know what saying we should protect the LGBT community. Like, I agree with all those things. It's just lame to put in a song. You know what I mean? Like, why would I want to sing a song about all that? That's like, it's like singing the Pledge of Allegiance or something. It's just, I don't know. There's not a lot of substance to that.
This gets on another tangent, but that's interesting because I don't think you have to sing about that because those are actual deeply held values. We're not projecting them onto a God that doesn't exist. These aren't artificial morals. So you don't have to sit there and reinforce them through songs the way you have to reinforce Christian values. You have to gin up feelings around that through song, because why else are you going to give a flying fork what a God believes, or, all these theological things.
And traditionally also hymns are like for God. Like they're for the worship of a God. And if we don't have if we're not worshiping anything, there's not really anything we're singing to. You know what I mean? That's another part of it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But the didactic trash thing, number one, I just loved how you said it. But then number two, that was a problem for me even as a Christian, because there's a reason Christians mostly watch, secular movies or whatever. It doesn't mean that Christians like to segment themselves off and say that's the world and we're religion or whatever, as if it's two different domains. But really, just like we don't section ourselves off and just consume atheist media. We consume that stuff too. It's just human experience and actually real stuff that's aside from whether you're a Christian or an atheist or whatever. But Christians, for some reason, value, well, I guess I get the reason, but they value and think there's a certain amount of, I'm totally spacing on my words. They think it's good that you watch.
They have approved sources of media. They have approved sources of expression, right? If it doesn't follow within the confines of regular Christian expression, like sexual lust, for example, is often expressed in songs. You can't have a Christian song about sexual lust, but that's a part of the human experience for many of us. So, yeah.
Well, and you just think you're doing something more righteous or more good if you can focus on things that are about God. Mm-hmm. And when I was a Christian, I really wanted to sit and watch a wholesome movie that's about something related to Christianity. And so I sit there and give it a try.
Really?
And
sincerely?
In periods of time I would. Yeah.
Man.
There were periods of time when I would just give it a go and like, oh, there's this wholesome movie about some Christian thing, or some clean movie about, I don't know, some family values thing or whatever. And you try to watch it, and like, even though that was what I wanted to connect to, and I thought that was in my core values, it was just boring. And it's because, like you summed up, it's didactic trash. It's sitting there to teach you a lesson and reinforce. And that's the same reason I wouldn't want to sit down at night and just watch an atheist movie all night. I just want to watch a movie about real stuff. But Christians can't seem to. I don't know.
By the way,
watch the other stuff, but they feel guilty the whole time.
That's why Tim Hawkins is the cream of the crop in Christian comedy. Like, he's a very well-known name in that small circle because it's not just didactic trash. Like, he is kind of clever. He is, if you're able to do parodies and stuff like that, able to that's just one of his comedy. He does a whole stand-up act, but he's able to toe that line, but also still kind of do it in at least a unique enough and creative enough way to where it's not completely, again, didactic trash, but it's kind of roundabout there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's like VeggieTales. Well, and we
can move on, I think.
Well, VeggieTales is popular because it's a show about talking vegetables. That's kind of novel. You know what I mean? And there's some humor to that isn't just Christian based, although most of it is, right? There's some funny accents and stuff, but it's that novelty that makes it good in Christian circles, because they need novelty because everything else is just the same. Right?
Well, and for a period of time, it was well written. Like VeggieTales, VeggieTales was basically like your vitamin wrapped in a treat.
Exactly.
Most of VeggieTales,
God, that's such a good way.
At least for a period of time, most of VeggieTales was just actually a good cartoon, and there were just Christian elements in it.
Yeah.
But I think when you apply this to Tim Hawkins, or at least to what we just watched, what he does, like you said, he walks that line. And in this case, I think the way he does it is just kind of trashy, because he takes something that is actually Christian and they feel like is affirming to their faith. But one way you could do it that's didactic and boring is take a faith affirming thing that's about how you need to live your life as a Christian, right?
Yeah.
The other route, which he does, is he takes something that affirms your faith with something Christians actually enjoy, which is taking a giant shit on atheists. And so they can enjoy themselves and have a laugh while they feel like their faith is being affirmed or they're doing something virtuous.
Yeah.
And virtuous, by the way, is the word I think I was looking for before, and I'm just basing all my words tonight.
Well,
so that was Tim Hawkins.
yeah.
If you thought Tim Hawkins was bad, allow me to introduce you.
Yeah. This is about 10 times worse, this next one, I think.
Yeah. You may have heard of Brad Stein. He might be the most insufferable person I have ever encountered on any kind of media, or at least he's one of them. I was telling Dan before this, I think he might literally be the worst person in history, including someone whose name I won't mention on the stream. That's exaggerating. But yeah, Brad Stein. Let's watch him. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see if he ever mocks a Christian. I mean, sorry, mocks an atheist.
Yeah.
We got people that are so self-absorbed that just because their little thinking niche market isn't being represented, they want to freak. Atheists. It's the only ideology that just freaks me out, man. Atheists. Atheists wants under God taken out of the...
Hang on, sorry, this is really early in. But number one, who's he calling a niche identity or a niche whatever? Like, Christians have to make everything about their little niche thing. But then number two, are we really the only ideology that freaks you out? Like, there's a lot of weird shit.
I hope we're not the only one that freaks you out. That's really funny.
We shouldn't.
Oh my God.
We shouldn't even be on your radar in that regard.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I hope like fascists freak you out, or maybe like white supremacists. Violent conspiracy theorists. I don't know, literally anybody else besides atheists. Oh God.
Even for me, if I were to say like the church down the street freaks me out more than anything else, I would feel like that would be an exaggeration to totally just targeted and inappropriate. Like there's way worse stuff out there.
Yeah. Can we also talk about how even in just these 10 seconds, you can already tell this dude is so insufferable. Like at least Tim Hawkins is like marginally more charming, right? Than I feel like I'm just listening to a sermon with maybe a humorous undertone rather than a comedy stand-up at this point. And we're like 5 seconds into this, but
Biddy says he sounds like a pastor and looks like he's on cocaine. One of the best way I can describe Brad Stein, other than like insufferable, is he looks like you could smell him.
Yeah, let's talk. Okay, we need to do a fit. Can we do a fit check real quick? Can we do a Zidanza fit check? Let's talk about the first. What is the date of this stand-up? Do you know?
I would guess. I think somebody had shown this to me when I was still a Christian, maybe like in
the 80s,
2000. No. This is like probably earlier 2000s. I would say.
Okay, then why the fuck? Where the fuck he get that collar from then, Zod? Because that collar is 70s at the earliest. Definitely not from this time period. Not from this time zone. What's happening here? What's with the suit? What's going on?
I think it's supposed to be I think it's supposed to be like some kind of comedy look or something. I don't know.
He's looking pretty funny, if that's what you mean. Damn, son.
I like what Eric said. I was just listening. He sounds like you can smell him also.
Yeah. That the hair is not doing him any favors either. I'm sorry. I always say we shouldn't judge people by the way they look on this show, and I always break that rule every single time I bring it up. So, but I'm going to do it this time.
I'm not judging him because of his looks. I'm judging his looks because of how he acts. I think that's a very important distinction.
True. He does. He dresses like he's acting. That's true, though. That's true.
Yeah. By the way, to set the context, if you ever look him up on YouTube, he's gone a very predictable path, which he starts as like he's a comedian and all this kind of stuff, doing his stand-up routine in front of audience. But now he has like a shitty podcast where he sits there and talks about regressive, right-wing, anti-woke,
like woke culture stuff.
I'm sure, which you can probably imagine. Anyway, let's start watching.
Hey, Hollyhock's saying, did Dan miss all the pop collars of the mid-aughts? No, I didn't. I'm just saying this dude looks like he was in Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean? He looks like He doesn't look like he's fitting the time period. I think he'd be unfashionable even for the mid-aughts, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of baggy clothing in the mid-aughts, but he's not looking good. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Oh, by the way, he's a movie star too. He was in like a movie about atheists trying to take Christmas away in a small town or something, I think.
Oh no. Well, we gotta put that on the watch list.
I have a feeling it had one of those bad Baldwin brothers.
Bro,
right. Leisure Suit Larry, exactly.
Leisure Suit Larry. He's so right. You're so right. It's Leisure Suit Larry. Like, oh man. Oh, that's
Except
so
with
funny.
less class.
That's so funny. All right, okay. Let's keep
All right,
going.
let's go.
Why? It offends him. I'm like, dude, you're an atheist. You don't even believe God is real. How can he offend you?
What a fucking dumbass. What a goddamn dumbass. I mean, he's just a dumb motherfucker. God, you're an adult. You're an adult man. And you don't understand why that might be offensive. And the crowd cheers for you. God, this country is stupid. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Watching this stuff is annoying and depressing. But if you ever want to understand the kind of dipshit conversations you have with Christians online or whatever, think of all the people who listened to that and thought, oh, that's both true and funny. Ha ha ha. Why would you be offended by someone you don't believe in?
This guy thought he has a podcast. That doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very easy. Okay, let's put Allah in the pledge.
Yeah.
Does that offend you? Oh, you don't even believe in Allah, bro. You don't believe in the Muslim God. Oh, okay. Now we see the problem. It's very, very simple.
They only get offended by things they believe in, which is why they never complain about evolution in schools or anything like that.
Yeah. He looks like he'd be complaining about cancel culture on Twitter. He looks like he's got Trump 2024 in the bio with the MAGA hat on. I see it already. I see his profile. I see it. I see him. Anyway.
He's basically every right-wing podcaster today.
Oh, man.
They're all the exact same person.
It's true.
Who is more irrational? The guy that believes in a God he doesn't see, or a guy who's offended by a God he doesn't believe in? What else is freaking you out? Unicorns? Unicorns! Oh, they're saying the unicorn word in school. Run, run! Crying out.
Okay,
this guy had
even
a
in
tape
isolation.
They put this on tape, son. Oh, man, that's hilarious.
By the time you have to lean on running around the stage like this, like your material sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've never seen a good comedian who has to do like a funny prance or like, I don't know.
No.
Comedians who know they don't have good jokes are the people who do that. And it doesn't even matter if you're a Christian or not, across the board.
Yeah, it's true. No, again, I'm not saying I'm like a comedy connoisseur or anything, but I've been to a few stand-up shows in my life, like real, and not like big names. Like if you go to local stand-up, it is a mix of cringe, but also you see some funny underground stuff. This dude somehow got a taped recording and sold this, and like somebody thought his shit was good enough. That's what surprises me the most. It has to be some bullshit Christian media distributor, because no fucking way a regular comedy distributor would ever be like, yeah, this is good enough to put to print. Let's get this out here. That's ridiculous. This is so dumb.
Well, it does the thing that you led me to about Tim Hawkins. Like,
yeah,
if you're a Christian, you don't want to watch a potty mouth comedian, for one thing. Not watching a worldly comedian is probably ideal, but if you can actually sit down and watch a Christian comedian, so it's Christian, it's virtuous to watch, and then he's shitting on atheists, which is an automatic laugh. So win.
Man, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Let's keep watching.
Out loud, it's become ridiculous. I don't care what you think, We look at life and think it has purpose and meaning. We think that love is real and courage is real and nobility is real and honor is real. None of those ideas that I just told you that you believe is real is in matter. It's not in molecules. It's not material. It's transcendent. It's something beyond our humanness, something we couldn't have got to on our own, and certainly it wasn't evolved by evolution, because evolution says that whatever happens to survive is all that matters. That's all that matters.
Hey, isn't this so funny, Zod? Are you laughing? Are you laughing at this really funny bit that's going on right now?
No. Do you hear the audience laughing either?
Yeah, yeah, even the audience is like, what the fuck is this guy going on about? This is just a rant. This isn't...
Yeah, Jason, he's just preaching at this point.
Yeah.
You know, comedians, they have the funny parts, and then they have the parts where it gets serious. And he's in his serious part where he's just sharing, he's getting real about the world.
Comedians, very famous for, again, didactic, really serious lectures in the middle of their bits. Like, okay, the rant can be funny. Take George Carlin, for example. When Carlin went on rant, you fucking listened, because even if you don't agree with everything he says, he's at least fucking clever about it. Like, he's at least novel. Like, this is just trash. This is so bad. I can't believe somebody paid money to see this guy, Zod. They paid money to sit in front of this dude. That's awesome. That's crazy. What a scam. Oh,
and once they did, they weren't sad about it. Like, they actually cheered and
yeah,
laughed.
they were like,
laughed.
"Oh, I saw this thing. It was so great." This guy, he went on a rant about molecules and evolution in the middle of it too. That was the best part. Wow.
It's transcendent, guys. It's more true if we don't understand it. Like, literally, all he's doing is showing his audience that he's baffled by what abstractions are. Like,
yeah, exactly. He doesn't think atheists can believe in abstractions. That's his problem. He has a hard time understanding how atheists can believe in abstractions. That's what he's mad about.
If two people love each other, that
how can you love each other when there's no God? And evolution says we're just molecules in motion, and it's the survival of the fish. How can you do that? Fucking, this guy looks like Jim Carrey on crack. What is this dude? What is this guy? Poor man's Jim Carrey over here telling me how to live my life. Fuck off. God damn.
How can ice cream be delicious when deliciousness isn't made out of molecules?
Evolution doesn't account for deliciousness. Your whole ideology is wrong.
Hang on.
It's scary.
Hang on, Dan. I think we fell into the trap.
Yeah.
Right now, we are mocking a Christian.
Oh.
This good Christian man is just trying to teach a message and have a few laughs, and we're mocking like mockers.
Yeah. It's
so ready?
bad. Yeah.
Let's watch some more Brad Stein.
We're not even halfway
right
through
and wrong
this
doesn't
bit.
exist. Culture just creates it as it goes. You gotta be kidding me. You see.
Okay, sorry.
Nobody's
He's
laughing.
actually mad.
Yeah,
like
because he looks mad.
Like, look at his face. He looks like he ate
grumpy.
a lemon. Like, he's just like, our culture has no meaning, and they just make it up.
They just make it
beauty.
up.
You see the majesty of creation. For crying out loud, you see God and His handiwork. Not that God. How can you not see that? Well, God is a crutch. Yeah? Well, not believing in God is a coma. You don't see none. Anthony Flew, 50 years, one of the most famous philosophical atheists in the world, teaches at Oxford. One of the most influential atheist philosophers in the world, 30 books on it. Recently said he's a deist now. You know what was the convincing force to him? One of the most compelling convincing force? Intelligent design theory. By doctorates and...
Isn't this really funny? Isn't this a really funny bit, Zod? Are you laughing yet? Are you laughing? Are you laughing at how funny this is? Yeah. I'm overjoyed right now with humor and mirth.
Once there was this atheist named Anthony Flew.
There's this guy, famous and atheist philosopher. Famous. And then he stopped. Yeah, that's
You
really
won't-
funny.
You won't believe it.
Wow.
He started
won't
believing
believe it.
something closer to what I do once his faculties were diminished.
He believed in deism. Granted, he wasn't a Christian and didn't accept any, like literally any Christian tenets whatsoever. But, wow,
only
it's so
Christians
funny.
brag about the fact that only Christians would brag about the fact that once someone starts having dementia, they believe what they do now. Like,
Yeah.
I think isn't that literally what happened with Anthony Flew? I don't mean to make light of it, but like, this guy was an atheist all his life, and now you're going to brag about the fact that once he was like, I think in his 80s, and was like very well diminished, he like made this slight concession toward your beliefs, and that's your big.
He did
point.
write a book about it. There was a thing on it, but I've never read it.
From what I understand, before what I understand, he was significantly diminished, and I think a Christian or some kind of theist or deist was helping him write it or something. That was my understanding.
Yeah, I don't know. Article in New York Times Magazine alleged that Flu's intellect had declined due to senility, and the book was primarily the work of Varghese, which was the co-author. But then Flu specifically denied this, saying that the book represented his views, although he acknowledged that due to his age, he did most of the actual work. Okay, well, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Point is, I don't listen to just one fucking dude. I've never read Anthony Flu's books in my life. I just know that he's like out there. Like it's I don't know. Who cares? Who cares what this one atheist guy said? What does that pertain to me? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, if only a Christian ever changed what they believe and became an atheist, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, like if Christians think it's a straw man, if we talk about like Ray Comfort or whatever, why should I give a shit about this guy ranting about Anthony Flew? Which, by the way, he did it in a bullshit comedian way because he's trying to, you want to do a natural transition into the next bit, and so the way he did you notice he just said Anthony Flew under his breath, and then he started ranting about Anthony Flew, and that was it. That was the only transition. There was no through line between the previous rant and the current rant that he's on. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Not the best comedy show I've ever been to, Zod. Not the best one. It's really bad, actually.
I don't know. If Grandpa's at a place where you wouldn't let him change his will, you probably shouldn't brag about what he started believing after that.
Damn, Zod. Holy shit. Dude, Zod is ageist as hell. You guys think I talk about age. Listen to Zod over here. Damn, he's calling your grandfather out. He's saying, fuck your grandpa's will. Damn, that's crazy, Zod. I can't believe you said that.
I don't mean to make fun of the elderly. I've had family that I had to help go through those stages of life, and it's not that in itself isn't funny, but there's something about, I think I'm dealing with it through comedy. I'm dealing with it through laughter or whatever, but I find it very distasteful that they take advantage of the experience of people going through that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I
Reverse
agree.
mortgage for a place.
With Phantasme Terrain said reverse mortgage for a place in heaven. And that about killed me. That's funnier than
Okay,
anything this
put it
guy has
together, I
said in
think.
the last 5 minutes. That's so funny. That's great. Oh man. That's awesome. Yeah, fuck this guy though. I hate this guy. He is the worst, Zod. He is absolutely the worst. You're right.
Do you want to keep rapping? Do you want to keep watching, or do you want to wrap
Let's
up?
finish it out. See,
All right,
we'll
let's
see
go.
where he goes with this rant. Maybe he'll actually make a fucking joke. Well, we'll see.
You have to
Doctors
smoke
who
the
say
whole
something
pack of
must
Brad
have done this.
Stein.
It couldn't have been
Yeah.
by chance. He was convinced and became, after 50 years, a deist. Intelligent design theory, the same theory that a judge in Georgia said you're not allowed to teach kids because he's smarter than the atheist philosopher from Oxford.
Oh, I missed that part. So now that the atheist philosopher from Oxford is agreeing with you, you have to listen to him. But all the other atheist philosophers from Oxford that say the exact opposite, we don't have to listen to those guys. Because God knows Anthony Flew is the only atheist that's ever graduated from Oxford. Yeah. That's awesome. That's incredible.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like, he's so smart like he's holding him up as this huge example of an intelligent person, and he's
wow,
like,
look how
so
smart
and
this guy
everything.
is now that he came to my conclusion. Yeah.
Well, he didn't even come to his conclusion.
No, he didn't. He
He's-
just became a deist. That's so funny.
Nobody freaks me out about this people. Nobody freaks me out more than their ideology. They run around complaining about things that they don't even believe in, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as he shifts to deism, which is like 1 degree closer to what you believe, but still something that you would find totally offensive in any other context, now suddenly he's super smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Brad Stein could turn around and do a whole other comedy routine about how stupid deists are because they don't believe in a personal God and blah, 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 blah. But it's like an alliance of convenience, I guess, because now he's not an atheist.
Man, that's hilarious. I hate this guy's odd.
Prepared, folks. Prepared to battle for our country's standards of morality. What is going to base the next generation? God or just matter? I don't know.
Those are the two choices.
But I say there's a whole bunch of people like us who aren't going away.
Oh, we
want
know.
our country back.
Yeah,
And
that's
we'll
true.
fight for it.
Bro, stop. Okay, stop. Let's go back just a second. Here if you hear the same thing. You and I, we're not experts in sound, right? We're not experts in sound. But let me listen to that again real quick. Let's do that
People
again.
like us who aren't going away and want our country back, and we'll fight for it.
Most 80-yard fucking clap I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, the clap?
That's 80-yard as hell. That's not what that audience sound like in that moment, right? That is absolutely
All right,
edited
well,
in. No
let me try
way
again.
it was sounded
We
like
aren't going
that.
away and want our country back, and we'll fight for it.
I think I can hear it.
Yeah. And I get it. You do that for every comedy. Like all comedy shows do that. They all edit in audience, but that's the fakest fucking bull. At least try. God damn. No way
Wait,
people were that
Trevor
excited
said the
about
second
his
shot of the
tirade.
Shepard said the second shot of the crowd isn't even in that auditorium. Now I need to go look.
Or just matter. I don't know.
I think you need to go back.
But I say there's a whole bunch of people like us
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
who aren't going away and want our country back, and we'll fight for it.
It did look a little different. I'm not 100% sure.
It could be at the end of the show.
Yeah,
The
I
lighting
don't
is
know.
definitely different. It's not the same shot. There's no way.
And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me after all these years of working in comedy clubs throughout the country. I finally just decided I'm going to come out. I'm a conservative and I'm a Christian and I'm proud.
Wow. Brave.
I'm coming out as a conservative Christian.
Hey, guys.
Get it? Get it?
I got a news flash for ya.
Usually,
I'm conservative. Wow! So brave! What a brave soldier fighting the good fight for morality. Oh. People paid money for this. That's so awesome. Dude, this guy scammed these people out of a comedy show. They got a lecture instead. That is so bullshit. Incredible. Yeah, worked all those comedy clubs. Probably because you couldn't stick at one because your bits suck. Like, they're terrible. Holy shit. Wow.
wait. I worked. That actually, there might be something behind that story. I worked all the This sounds like a little bit of a Ben Shapiro story.
Yeah.
I worked all the clubs, and then I came out as a Christian. Like, maybe you sucked ass, and then you realized, like,
if you were a
came out
good
as
comedian,
Christian-
it wouldn't fucking matter. That's the thing. Here's like Louis C.K., right? is a piece of shit morally, right? Like everybody knows this now. He's kind of fucked up, but people liked him because he was fucking funny. Like you couldn't take that part. Like there's still people that defend him to this day just because they like his acts and they can't separate. Like, oh, that's literally just a bit. You know, it's like, yeah, I can admit Louis C.K. is funny and he can still be a piece of shit. Like there's, I don't know, there's some nuance there. Like if you have to identify as a Christian conservative for your comedy to land, you just suck at comedy. You're just bad at it. I don't know.
With Brad Stein, if you separate the art from the artist, you just have two piles of the same thing.
Yeah, it's just garbage both ways. Yeah, you're right. Fuck this guy.
Yeah. So basically, he ends with full-on Christian nationalism, like, we're not going away.
We're not going away.
We want our country back. Yeah, that doesn't sound ominous. We want our country back. Let's go to the Capitol and get it, guys.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Dude, I guarantee you, Ben, he was there. Dude, he has a post on his Twitter right now about January 6th. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. I will bet you tonight's donations, Zod. that is true. No way it's not. That guy sucks so hard. Man, I hate him. I hate him more.
He even has a part where he there's some joke he tells. I don't know if it's about atheism or about something else, where he dances around and hits himself on the head while he's making fun of somebody. Something stupid like that.
I would love to be a stealth guest on his podcast and just call him a piece of shit and see if he still releases it. I don't know. There's something about him that's really pissed me off now. I don't know what it is. Something triggered in me.
He would, to him, that would be, to get called a piece of shit would be very validating. See, I came out as a Christian conservative, and here's what happens.
Wow. Every day, that man's fighting the good fight. I love all the folks in the front standing, clapping for this guy because they've never been to a comedy show before and they think that people do that shit. It's so funny. Oh, man.
I don't know.
If you go to the... I don't know. I'm not going to keep on with it.
Go ahead. Okay. All right. So, conclusion, Dan. Do you think Christians ever mock anybody?
Yes. And God, they piss me off when they do it, apparently. I mean, just really get under my skin. That guy, let me talk about Brad Stein. Brad Stein has a failed cryptocurrency, right? I just know this in my heart. Like, there's a Brad coin out there that didn't get any traction. I just know it, dude. I know it. I can clock this guy from 100 miles away. I know it. I know it. I see it. But no, it's bad, Zod. They're out there.
I wonder if people used to see the word Brad the way they do today before him, or if he's the one who caused that. If he was the original Brad. Isn't Brad kind of a name for an obnoxious basic guy or something?
Oh, I mean, I guess there's the Chad memes, but the Chad is kind of a positive moniker. Maybe you're getting it confused with Chad.
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway.
I don't know.
So,
yes,
thanks
in
everyone
conclusion,
for joining us.
Yes, there's people there's Christians that make fun of people. If I wasn't answering your question directly, I want to do that. Yeah, they do exist, and they're terrible.
Oh, we got a
last minute donation.
RPG official
Said, "Hey Zod, came across your channel a couple weeks ago, and so far I am very impressed. Thank you for the great content. Look at that. Nice.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you." That's my super chat. They were talking to me.
Yeah, I know. I guess that means you get that money, and it's I don't get any of that.
Exactly.
Presumably they donated to this stream, so maybe they like me too. But I don't know. I do like Shivers. I think Shivers' message should be our sign off tonight, which is, "Are you a Chad or a Brad?" I do like that a lot. If we don't find anything else until then.
I do too. All right. So, any last thoughts?
Well,
We just kind of fell
Christian
apart in
comedy
laughter.
sucks, but we all know that. But it can also piss you off. That's something I learned. That's my thoughts. What about you, Zod?
But first, before I give my last thoughts, are you in an okay place right now?
Am I in an okay place? I'm good. I'm great. I'm doing
All right,
just fine. Everybody, thanks for watching the stream. Please like and subscribe and support the channel to see more of me dunking on Brad Stein. I'll do it every week if that's what it takes. I love it. I'm in it for the long haul.
All right. I guess my closing thought is Brad Stein should eat shit. Good night, everybody.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. La, 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 la casa del merengue. La, 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 y la casa de la bachata.